Have you ever felt like you're literally drowning in information, but somehow still starving for actual wisdom? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating critique of modern education and our ongoing search for true wisdom. We're going to explore the profound concepts laid out in Chapter 2 of our source material, The Essentials of Truth. If you're ready to move beyond just collecting facts, you are absolutely in the right place.
Let me ask you a question right out of the gate. Are we confusing superficial knowledge with true wisdom? Think about it. We live in this incredibly information-heavy world, right? We've got facts, figures, and endless data at our fingertips, 24/7. But the core problem our text tackles today is whether all this modern materialistic education has actually made us less wise. Have we completely lost sight of what it means to truly understand the world around us?
To answer that, here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The modern intellect problem, 2. Redefining philosophy, 3. The wisdom manufacturing process, 4. The power of decision, and finally, 5. Intellect versus instinct.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the problem of modern intellect. Let's look at where education errs.
The source material takes a really hard look at our current societal and educational landscape, and honestly, it doesn't pull any punches about where we've gone wrong. It points to a very telling newspaper survey showing that over 70% of people today doubt the unseen, or they just don't believe in religion or any higher spiritual reality. The author uses this massive statistic to show how a deep, materialistic bias has taken root in modern education. Basically, we're taught to only believe in what we can physically see, measure, and weigh.
And that perfectly sets up the conflict we're facing. On one side, we've got superficial knowledge. This is the tendency to just blindly accept materialistic education and modern science without asking questions. On the flip side, we have unseen realities. The source strongly urges us to challenge our unquestioned faith in modern science. It suggests that real existence isn't just about length, width, and height. True reality lies in unchanging truths that exist way beyond our physical dimensions. If we just swallow modern education whole, we might actually be missing the truth entirely.
Moving right along to Section 2, redefining philosophy. What does it actually mean to be a lover of wisdom? So if the modern intellectual approach is flawed, what's the alternative? The source completely redefines what it means to be a philosopher. Forget the stereotype of some academic just standing at a university podium droning on from dusty old books. Going back to its Greek roots, a philosopher is literally a lover of wisdom. It's someone who actively seeks out those unseen realities. The text makes a really sharp distinction here. Philosophy isn't just studying historical texts from past thinkers. Doing that is just treating knowledge like museum artifacts.
The argument laid out in the text is super clear. Philosophy is an active, ongoing effort. It is a relentless pursuit to figure out the meaning of human existence and to grasp what true wisdom actually is. It's a verb, not a noun, you know? It is all about striving and making the conscious effort to uncover the truth yourself.
Which brings us to Section 3, the wisdom manufacturing process. Let's break down this three-step methodology.
This is honestly the most actionable part of the text. Wisdom doesn't just magically happen to you. It's manufactured through a specific, rigorous, three-stage process. The steps are, first, return everything to a blank slate. Second, analyze the subject from all possible angles. And third, choose one final conclusion. Let's dive into these one by one. Step 1 requires a massive conceptual shift. You have to consciously empty your mind. The text argues that to find true wisdom, you first have to discard all your past knowledge, your formal education, and all your preconceptions. You literally have to wipe the slate clean. If you approach a problem burdened by modern biases or what society tells you is fact, you're never going to see those unseen realities. Okay, once your slate is completely clean, you move to step 2, multi-angle analysis. The text asks us to use our imagination to view a problem from the perspective of 100 different people, or actually even 1,000 or 10,000 people. You have to think exhaustively about all sides of an issue before making a judgment. It's like a rigorous mental workout where you're exploring every single facet of a topic to discover all the hidden dimensions it holds. Now for Section 4, the power of decision. This is all about taking the leap. This is the absolutely crucial final step of the process, and according to the author, this is exactly where most of us get stuck today. The text offers this incredibly sharp critique of modern society, stating, "There are too many people who cannot draw a conclusion.
feeling like this might be wrong, that might be wrong. Does that sound familiar? We suffer from textbook over-analysis paralysis. We gather endless information, we weigh all the sides, but we get so terrified of making a mistake that we never actually take a firm stance.
The author addresses this with a really striking metaphor. When you're faced with a valley you cannot cross, you can't just stand at the edge analyzing it forever. You must build a jumping board, a springboard, and you must leap. Step 3 of manufacturing wisdom is having the courage to pick the absolute best conclusion you've arrived at and jumping. You must decide, and more importantly, you must act upon that decision, taking full responsibility for the outcome.
And that leads us to our final part, Section 5, Intellect versus Instinct. What makes us truly human? Let's see how this all builds our final understanding. The source juxtaposes two fundamental ways of living. On one side, you have animalistic instinct. This is living life dictated purely by physical desires, bodily sensations, and just going with whatever you feel in the moment. On the other side, you have human intellect. According to the text, true intellect is living by deliberately chosen principles. If we skip the intellectual process of deciding and acting responsibly, we're basically just living like animals, reacting to whatever stimuli come our way.
So, to summarize the core thesis of this entire chapter, intellect is not just knowing a bunch of facts. Superficial knowledge is cheap. True intellect is the rigorous, ongoing effort to break away from base instinct. It's the continuous, deliberate effort to maintain your spiritual attitude and the principles you've chosen through your own active manufacturing of wisdom. It's a daily, active practice of taking responsibility for the life and the beliefs you've built.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. What past knowledge or preconception do you need to wipe blank today so you can discover your own true wisdom? Think about that 3-step framework. What happens if you clear the slate, analyze a problem from 100 different angles, and finally dare to build a jumping board and take the leap? I highly encourage you to apply this process in your own life this week. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep seeking those unseen realities.